Alright, let's talk about something that drives me absolutely nuts. Watching preppers blow their entire budget on overpriced tactical gear and freeze-dried astronaut food while completely ignoring the basics. The stuff that could actually save their family and their wallet right now. Look, I've been in the prepping game since 2012, and let me tell you, my first year was a disaster. I made the rookie mistake of buying one of everything instead of focusing on what really mattered. So today I'm breaking it down for you. The 17 must-have items every smart prepper should be buying in bulk. And trust me, number 14 is gonna blow your mind because it's something most preppers completely overlook. Here's the deal. Bulk buying isn't just about being ready for emergencies anymore. With inflation hitting grocery stores harder than a hurricane slamming the coast, buying in bulk is one of the smartest financial moves you can make right now. I tracked my spending for an entire year, and by switching to bulk purchases on just these 17 items, I saved over $3,000. That's real money you can put toward other preps, or actually enjoy life a little while you're getting ready for the unknown. So let's dive in. The unsung hero, heavy-duty contractor bags. Let's kick things off with something that's criminally underrated. Heavy-duty contractor bags. Not your flimsy kitchen trash bags, but the thick black 55-gallon monsters that can handle just about anything you throw at them. Literally. These bags are a prepper's Swiss Army knife, and if you're not stocking up on them, you're missing out on one of the most versatile tools in your arsenal. Why are they so critical? Because in a survival situation, trash bags aren't just for trash. They're emergency ponchos when the rain won't quit, makeshift sleeping bag liners to keep you warm on freezing nights, and even temporary window repairs when a storm shatters your glass. Back in 2014, during a brutal ice storm that knocked out power for a week, I learned this firsthand. Those contractor bags became lifesavers literally. I used them to collect rainwater, seal off drafty windows, and even create privacy screens when we had to hunker down in one room. And here's the kicker. They're dirt cheap. A box of 100 costs around $30, and they take up almost no space in your storage. Stack 10 boxes in your garage, and you've got 1,000 solutions to problems you haven't even thought of yet. Need to waterproof your gear? Done. Create a vapor barrier for cold weather clothing? Easy. Dispose of contaminated materials safely? No problem. These bags are the ultimate prepper hack, and if you're not buying them in bulk, you're leaving yourself vulnerable to situations that could easily be solved with a 0-30 bag. 2. Power up. Bulk battery. Next up, let's talk about something you probably already know you need but aren't buying smartly. Batteries. And no, I'm not talking about grabbing a 4-pack of DAs at the checkout counter. I'm talking about buying them by the case. Because batteries are the lifeblood of your emergency gear, and the price difference between buying a small pack versus a bulk pack is staggering. Here's the deal. Batteries have a shelf life of 5 to 10 years if stored properly, so there's no excuse not to stock up. And when I say stock up, I mean DAs, AAAs, 9 volts, and even those tiny coin cell batteries that power everything from key fobs to medical devices. The cost per battery drops dramatically when you buy in bulk. For example, a 4-pack of DAs might cost you $6, but a 48-pack, that's around do the math. You're paying 3 times more for convenience. Pro tip, store your batteries in a cool, dry place, not in the devices themselves. I keep mine in labeled plastic organizers in my basement where the temperature stays consistent year-round. And don't just stick to alkaline batteries. Invest in lithium batteries too. They're pricier up front but last 3 times longer and perform better in extreme temperatures. When the grid goes down and your flashlight is your only source of light, you'll be glad you spent the extra money. 3. The overlooked essential, washcloth. This one might surprise you. Washcloths. Not the fancy plush ones from a department store, but the plain white no-frills kind you can buy in bulk packs of 24 for about $15. Why are these so important? Because in a crisis, single-use items like paper towels are a terrible prep. They take up too much space, run out quickly, and leave you scrambling for alternatives. Washcloths, on the other hand, are reusable, versatile, and incredibly durable. Think about it. You can use washcloths for cleaning, personal hygiene, first aid, and even as makeshift filters for water in a pinch.
Got an old oily one. It doubles as a fire starter.
During the 2020 shortages, when people were fighting over paper products, I was sitting pretty with my stash of washcloths. I've got about 200 of them stored away, and they take up less space than a month's supply of paper towels. The best part, they're easy to clean. Wash them, dry them, and use them again. It's that simple. And if you're worried about hygiene, just boil them for a few minutes to sanitize. Trust me, when everyone else is panicking over a lack of paper products, you'll be the one who's prepared. 4. The long-term staples. Pasta. Let's move on to food, starting with pasta. Yes, everyone talks about stockpiling pasta, but here's what they don't tell you. How you store it makes all the difference. Improper storage can turn your investment into a pantry full of wasted food. I learned this the hard way when I had to throw out 50 pounds of pasta that got infested with pantry moths. Don't make the same mistake. The secret: transfer your pasta into airtight containers as soon as you bring it home. Add a few bay leaves to deter pests, or go the extra mile with mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. This method can extend the shelf life of your pasta from a couple of years to over a decade. And don't just buy any pasta. Stick to the basics like spaghetti, penne, and macaroni. They store better and cost less than the fancy shapes. Here's another tip: track sales. Pasta goes on sale every 6 to 8 weeks, dropping from $1.50 per pound to as low as $0. That's when you stock up. Fill your cart, ignore the funny looks, and laugh all the way to your stockpile. And if you're looking for even longer shelf life, consider whole wheat pasta. The natural oils act as preservatives, giving you more bang for your buck. 5. The survival superfood. White rice. Finally, let's talk about white rice, the king of long-term food storage. A 50-pound bag costs about $25 right now. But if you buy it in 1-pound packages, you're looking at $75 for the same amount. That's a no-brainer. But here's the kicker: white rice, when stored properly, can last up to 30 years. That's not just food security, that's generational preparedness. The key to long-term storage is airtight containers. Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers are your best bet. And don't forget to add bay leaves to keep pests away. I've got rice in my stockpile that could outlast me, and it's one of the most comforting things to know I'll never run out of a staple food. White rice is incredibly versatile. It's a base for countless meals, easy to cook, and provides a solid source of calories. Plus, it's gluten-free, making it a safe option for anyone with dietary restrictions. And here's a pro tip: rotate your stock. Use the oldest rice first, and replace it with fresh bags. This way, you're always prepared without wasting a single grain.
6. The mighty pinto bean, a prepper's protein powerhouse. Let's talk about one of the most underrated, budget-friendly, and incredibly versatile foods you can stockpile: dried beans, specifically pinto beans. Though the wisdom applies to many varieties, a 25-pound bag of these protein-packed gems often costs around $20. That translates to less than $1 per pound for one of the most nutritious and foundational foods on the planet, rich in fiber and essential minerals. Compare that to canned beans, which can easily run you about $3 per pound for a product already cooked and often high in sodium, and you're instantly saving over 60% by opting for dried. But the financial savings are just the beginning of their appeal. Here's the real kicker for preppers: dried beans are incredibly compact. A single pound of dried beans expands to the equivalent of 6 cans once cooked, meaning you need 6 times less storage space in your pantry or emergency stockpile for the same amount of prepared food. And it's not just pinto beans, black beans, navy beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils. The variety is endless. Your taste buds will truly thank you for this diversity when you're months into eating from your long-term food supply. Another major win for dried beans: they don't come with expiration dates to stress over. Properly stored in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers or in food-grade buckets, dried beans can last 25 to 30 years, often even longer. Yes, you read that right, decades of reliable sustenance. I've personally eaten beans that were 15 years old, and they tasted just as fresh and cooked up just as well as the day I bought them. If you're serious about prepping and building a resilient food supply, dried beans are an absolute no-brainer. They're cheap, immensely nutritious, and built to last through the toughest times. 7. Coffee beans, the ultimate crisis currency. Alright, coffee lovers, this one's for you. But even if you're not a caffeine addict, Hear me out. Coffee beans are going to be worth their weight in gold during a long-term crisis, perhaps even more valuable than traditional currencies. Because coffee is not just a beverage, it's addictive. It offers comforting familiarity, and it's a daily ritual for millions of people worldwide. When supply chains break down, as they inevitably do in major emergencies, coffee is one of the first everyday luxuries to disappear, leading to widespread craving and for some physical withdrawal symptoms. Let me give you a real-world example. After Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico in 2017, the price of coffee tripled almost overnight. People were literally trading generators for small amounts of coffee, demonstrating just how valuable and sought after it became for both its stimulant properties and psychological comfort. If you're thinking about stockpiling coffee, always go for whole beans, not ground coffee. Whole beans last up to 5 times longer because their surface area is much smaller, reducing oxidation. Vacuum-sealed whole beans can maintain their quality and flavor for 2 to 3 years, sometimes more, while ground coffee goes stale and loses its potency in just weeks or a few months. And don't forget to invest in a manual coffee grinder. A good hand crank grinder will set you back about $50, but it's worth every penny when the grid is down. When the power's out and everyone else is suffering through instant coffee or debilitating caffeine withdrawals, you'll be sipping on fresh aromatic brews, and perhaps even sharing it as a high-value barter item. Trust me, coffee isn't just a luxury, it's a powerful barter item, a critical morale booster, and a true survival essential for many. 8. Wheat berries, the prepper's secret weapon. If you're new to prepping, wheat berries might sound a little strange or unfamiliar, but these whole unprocessed wheat kernels are an absolute game changer for long-term food storage. Why not just store flour, you ask? Because flour once milled contains oils that quickly go rancid, giving it a shelf life of only 6 months to a year, even when stored carefully. Wheat berries, on the other hand, with their protective outer layer, can last an incredible 30 years or more when stored properly, making them a truly long-term solution. A 50-pound bag of wheat berries costs about $30 and yields roughly 42 pounds of fresh, nutrient-dense flour when ground. Compare that to grocery store flour, which costs around $4 for a 5-pound bag, and you're saving a whopping 70% while also getting a much fresher, higher-quality product. But the benefits don't stop there. Wheat berries are incredibly versatile. You can cook them whole like rice or other grains to use in soups, stews, or as a side dish. You can sprout them for fresh greens, providing vital nutrients even in the dead of winter when fresh produce is scarce. Or you can grind them into flour whenever you need it, ensuring your bread and baked goods are always made with the freshest ingredients possible. To make the most of your wheat berries, you'll definitely need a grain mill. I recommend having both an electric mill for everyday convenience and a manual one as a crucial backup for power outages. And here's a fun fact most people don't know. You can pop wheat berries just like popcorn. They make a crunchy, nutty, and surprisingly addictive snack that my kids can't get enough of. If you're serious about building a robust, long-term food storage system, wheat berries are an absolute must-have. 9. Bulk meat, the freezer-filling investment. Meat is consistently one of the most expensive items in any grocery budget, but buying it in bulk can save you a small fortune over time. I'm not just talking about grabbing family packs at the supermarket, although that's a good start. I'm talking about a more significant investment, buying a quarter, half, or even a whole cow directly from a local rancher or supplier. Last year, for instance, I purchased half a cow. This yielded me about 220 pounds of high-quality, grass-fed organic beef, ranging from versatile ground beef to premium steaks. Do the math. That's roughly $7 per pound for meat of exceptional quality. The same cuts and quality at a typical grocery store would easily have cost me over. The key to making this strategy work effectively is proper storage. You'll need a dedicated deep freezer, and ideally one specifically for your bulk meat and another for everything else. And here's a pro tip that makes a huge difference. Vacuum seal everything yourself. While butcher paper is fine for a few months, vacuum seal
well-peeled meat lasts 2 to 3 years in the freezer without any risk of freezer burn, preserving its taste and texture perfectly. During the 2020 meat shortages, when ground beef hit $10 a pound in some places due to supply chain disruptions, I was comfortably eating ribeye steaks from my freezer stash that had only cost me $5 per pound. Bulk meat is undoubtedly an upfront investment, but it's one that pays off big time in both financial savings and peace of mind during uncertain times. 10. Cleaning supplies, the overlooked stockpile essential. When it comes to prepping, most people intuitively focus on securing enough food and water, which are undeniably critical. However, cleaning supplies are just as important and often overlooked for maintaining health and sanitation, and buying them in bulk can save you a fortune while ensuring preparedness. Take bleach, for example. A large gallon of concentrated bleach costs about $3, while those smaller convenient 32-ounce bottles are often $2.50 each. You're effectively paying more than double per ounce for the convenience of a smaller bottle that doesn't last as long. This concentrated bleach can be diluted for various cleaning and sanitizing purposes, making it incredibly versatile. The same principle applies to laundry detergent. Skip the fancy, brightly colored brands with excessive packaging and instead buy the commercial-grade powder that hotels and laundromats use. A 50-pound bucket of commercial laundry powder costs around $40 and will easily last a family of 4 an entire year. Compare that to the $300 or more you'd spend on the same amount of cleaning power in those pretty liquid plastic bottles. Plus, powder detergent stores almost indefinitely without degrading, while liquid detergent can separate, congeal, and lose effectiveness over time, especially in fluctuating temperature. And don't forget about other essential items like dish soap, all-purpose cleaners, hand sanitizer, and even scrub brushes. Buying these household essentials in bulk not only provides significant long-term savings, but also ensures you're well prepared for any situation. Whether it's a natural disaster that cuts off supply lines, an economic downturn, or just a tight monthly budget, having a robust stockpile of cleaning supplies will keep your home hygienic, your family healthy, and your daily life running smooth. 11. Toilet paper, the unsung hero of crisis preparedness. Let's face it, 2020 taught us all a hard lesson about toilet paper. Remember the absolute chaos that ensued when shelves went bare? Grown adults were literally fighting in store aisles, battling over the last dwindling pack of Charmin. It was a truly absurd situation, but it undeniably highlighted one crucial truth. Toilet paper is a non-negotiable necessity in our modern lives. Everyone uses it daily. No one wants to run out, and it's certainly not something you can easily or hygienically improvise or DIY at home when supplies are scarce. Here's the smart move for preparedness. Skip the overpriced, plush premium brands you typically buy for everyday comfort. Instead, opt for the commercial-grade stuff, often found in bulk. You know, those massive, industrial-sized rolls that look like they belong in a gas station restroom or a busy office building. Sure, they might not feel as soft or luxurious as your preferred brand, but they are incredibly durable, last an extraordinarily long time, and cost a mere fraction of the price per roll. For my family of 4, I consistently maintain a 6-month supply on hand at all times that typically translates to about 96 rolls. It might sound excessive or even a bit paranoid to some, but trust me, when a crisis hits, it's anything but. During the 2020 shortage, I personally witnessed people paying exorbitant prices, sometimes upwards of $50 for a single 12-pack of toilet paper on Facebook Marketplace. Meanwhile, my entire 6-month stockpile had cost me around $1. Do the quick math. Those panic buyers were spending more on a single limited pack than I had invested for half a year's worth of supply. The powerful lesson here is clear. Don't wait for a widespread crisis or a supply chain disruption to stock up on essentials. Toilet paper might not be the most glamorous item on your preparedness list, but it is fundamentally essential for hygiene and comfort. Having a readily available stash will not only save you money in the long run, but also immense stress and potentially even prevent you from having to contend with frantic crowds in the Walmart aisle. 12. Canned goods, the backbone of any stockpile. Canned goods are undeniably a prepper's best friend when it comes to long-term food storage. But here's where most people inadvertently go wrong. They instinctively buy the standard, regular-sized cans that line the shelves of every grocery store. That method, while convenient for immediate consumption, is
is ultimately the most expensive and least efficient way to build a robust food supply. If you are truly serious about comprehensive prepping, you need to think significantly bigger. I'm talking about number 10 cans, those giant restaurant-sized containers designed for institutional use. Why should you opt for these larger cans? Because they offer a far superior deal and are significantly more efficient for stockpiling. Consider this: a number 10 can of green beans might cost about $6, yet it contains a substantial 6.5 pounds of food. To acquire the same quantity of green beans using regular-sized cans, you would likely spend $15 or even more. Furthermore, with the number 10 can, you're dealing with just one single container instead of 7 smaller ones, which translates to considerably less storage hassle and significantly less waste in terms of packaging and metal. So where exactly do you find these magical, oversized cans? Excellent sources include restaurant supply stores, specialized online bulk retailers, and sometimes even local restaurants themselves, many of which are willing to sell to the public. They just typically don't advertise this fact widely. When stocking up, prioritize versatile staples like various vegetables, fruits, tomato sauce, and critically important proteins such as canned chicken, tuna, and other meats or beans. These giant cans boast the same impressive shelf life as their smaller counterparts, and once opened, their contents can easily be transferred into smaller, more manageable containers or even home canned into jars. For continued freshness, canned goods, particularly in these larger formats, truly form the backbone of any serious and resilient food storage plan. They are affordable when bought in bulk, exceptionally long-lasting, and incredibly versatile for culinary use. Whether you're crafting hearty soups, comforting stews, or filling casseroles, having a diverse variety of canned goods on hand will ensure your meals remain interesting, nutritious, and sustaining, even during an extended crisis when fresh produce is unavailable. 13. Oats, the ultimate survival superfood. Oats might not sound like the most exciting item on a grocery list, often relegated to a simple breakfast staple, but they are in fact one of the most versatile, nutrient-dense, and cost-effective foods you can possibly stockpile for preparedness. And no, I'm emphatically not talking about those sugary, heavily processed instant packets that offer little nutritional value. I mean whole rolled oats or steel-cut oats, purchased in bulk quantities. For example, a 50-pound bag can often be acquired for around $35, which breaks down to an incredibly economical 70 cents per pound. Why are oats such a big deal for preppers? For starters, their versatility is practically unmatched. While a warm bowl of oatmeal for breakfast is an obvious and comforting choice, that's merely the beginning of their utility. You can easily grind them into a fine flour perfect for baking bread, muffins, or other staples. They can be effectively used as a meat extender in ground beef dishes, helping to stretch valuable protein sources. Homemade granola is another excellent option, providing a portable and energy-rich snack. Beyond culinary uses, oats even have practical applications for skincare. Yes, oatmeal baths are a well-known remedy, working wonders to soothe irritated skin from conditions like poison ivy or general dryness. Oats are also powerful nutritional powerhouses. They are richly packed with essential protein, ample dietary fiber, and a host of crucial vitamins and minerals, making them an incredibly filling, healthy, and energy-sustaining choice, especially during demanding times. Historically, during the dire years of the Great Depression, many families relied heavily on oats to survive, precisely because they were cheap, exceptionally filling, and provided vital nutrition when other food sources were scarce. When stored properly in airtight food-grade containers, oats can astonishingly last up to 30 years, making them an absolute dream for any long-term prepper. If you are seeking a food item that is supremely affordable, incredibly versatile, nutritionally robust, and built to last for decades, oats should unquestionably be at the very top of your emergency food storage list. 14. Vitamins and supplements, the overlooked essential. Here's a critical aspect of preparedness that most preppers often don't initially consider: the vital role of vitamins and supplements. You can meticulously stock all the rice and beans in the world, ensuring calorie intake, but if your body is not receiving a broad spectrum of essential micronutrients, your health will inevitably begin to deteriorate. Conditions like scurvy, rickets, and anemia aren't just antiquated diseases from history history books or pirate lore. They are very real, debilitating conditions that can rapidly manifest when a diet lacks necessary variety and nutrient density over an extended period, which is a significant risk in a long-term crisis scenario. The proactive solution: thoughtfully stock up on a range of vitamins and supplements. Pay particular attention to those known for their broad benefits, especially vitamin C for immune support, vitamin D for bone health and mood, comprehensive multivitamins to cover general nutritional gaps, and zinc, another key player in immune function. These are the heavy hitters that will critically help keep your immune system strong and your body functioning optimally under stress. And the best part? They are remarkably affordable, especially when you strategically buy them in bulk from warehouse stores or online retailers. A year's supply of a good quality multivitamin for one person can cost as little as $30, translating to less than 10 cents a day for invaluable nutritional insurance against deficiency. Ensure your vitamins are stored in a cool, dark place, away from direct sunlight and extreme temperatures. Under these ideal conditions, they can often maintain a significant portion of their potency for 2 to 3 years beyond their printed expiration date. In the event of a protracted crisis, having a readily available stash of these crucial vitamins could genuinely mean the difference between maintaining robust health and succumbing to preventable illnesses that could severely compromise your ability to survive and thrive. Do not overlook this fundamental and critical aspect of comprehensive personal preparedness. 15. Cooking oil, the liquid gold of prepping. Cooking oil is one of those household staples you rarely think about until, suddenly, you run completely out, and at that point it transforms into a significant and frustrating problem. It is absolutely essential for most forms of cooking, serves as a highly dense source of calories, and can even function as a makeshift fuel source in a dire pinch for certain types of lamps or heaters. However, it's crucial to understand that not all cooking oils are created equal, particularly when considering their suitability for long-term storage and resistance to rancidity. Coconut oil emerges as the undisputed king of prepping oils for its exceptional shelf stability. It can typically last up to 5 years or even longer without going rancid, a remarkable feat largely thanks to its natural antimicrobial properties. It's also conveniently solid at room temperature, which makes it considerably easier to store in bulk containers. Beyond its longevity, coconut oil is incredibly versatile. You can use it extensively for cooking, baking, and even as a beneficial ingredient in homemade skincare products. A 5-gallon bucket of coconut oil, a common bulk purchase, typically costs around $60 and provides a staggering 15,000 calories per gallon, making it an energy-rich powerhouse. Olive oil is another excellent option for long-term storage due to its healthy fat profile and moderate stability, but it demands a bit more careful handling. Always purchase it in dark-colored containers, as light accelerates degradation, and store it in the coolest, darkest place you can find within your home or storage area. Conversely, it is highly advisable to avoid common vegetable and canola oils for long-term storage. They possess a very short shelf life, quickly go rancid, and are simply not worth the precious storage space they would occupy in your emergency pantry. Cooking oil might not be the very first item that springs to mind when you begin assembling your preparedness supplies, but its importance is absolutely undeniable. Stock up on appropriate stable oils now, and you will be well equipped to cook nourishing meals, bake comforting foods, and even provide essential light from a lamp should the need arise during an extended disruption.